Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today because we are diving headfirst into a classic folktale that has literally survived for generations. It's a story that brilliantly contrasts superficial, flashy wealth with essential truth, and it's all wrapped up in a beautiful narrative. We're going to completely unpack the king and the salt of the earth. You know, we so often get blinded by the shiny things in life, but today we're going to discover exactly how and why the unglamorous things are usually what actually keep us alive. Okay, let's dive right into this. Before we really unfold the narrative, I want you to pause for a second and just ponder this thought experiment. What is more valuable to you, a crown of gold or a bowl of salt? Now, your first instinct might be to laugh. I mean, obviously the gold, right? Gold buys the salt, it buys the house, it buys the whole kingdom. But this specific question is the entire foundation of our story today. So keep your answer tucked away in your mind as we journey through this. Now, to really grasp the stakes here, we first have to understand the world we're dealing with. Just imagine a beautiful, majestic fairy tale kingdom at sunrise. We're talking about a magnificent golden palace situated high up on a hill, overlooking these colorful gardens and happy villagers. It is a world entirely defined by absolute wealth and cinematic grandeur. And right in the middle of this palace sits a wise king on a golden throne, flanked by his three daughters. Everything they touch is luxurious, everything they see sparkles. It's the ultimate comfort zone. Let's move ahead and see how this builds, because the story really kicks into high gear when the king, sitting in that grand royal hall, asks his daughters a seemingly simple question: how much do you love me? He wants tangible proof of their affection. Well, the older sisters answer in the language of their world, right? The eldest proudly says she loves him as much as shining gold, and the middle sister says she loves him as much as sparkling gemstones. The royal court absolutely eats this up. But then, the youngest, kindest princess steps forward and says she loves him as much as salt. And this brilliantly illustrates the sheer shock value of that exact moment. On one hand, you have the eldest and middle daughters draped in golden crowns and sparkling gemstones, just radiating pride. And on the other, you have the youngest daughter holding nothing but a small, humble bowl of salt. Think about it. In a room completely overflowing with extreme luxury, offering salt as a metric of love, it feels like a massive insult. It's this ultimate drop-the-mic moment because she is actively comparing his immense royal worth to a cheap, completely unglamorous necessity. Well, as you might expect, the reaction is explosive. The king's sudden fury absolutely shatters the royal court. He jumps up from his golden throne, face twisted in anger, and he is just completely blinded by his pride and the allure of his gold. He simply cannot fathom how a cheap rock from the dirt could ever represent true love. So in a fit of absolute rage and deep disappointment, he completely rejects her answer and banishes his youngest daughter right out of the kingdom. So we instantly pivot from the bright, booming halls of that golden palace to a much more intimate, grounded reality. The young princess is forced into a harsh exile. She's walking entirely alone down a dirt road through this vast, magical forest at sunset. There are tears in her eyes, and she carries literally nothing but a small bag. She's been stripped of everything shiny and grand, all because she dared to speak a fundamental truth that her father simply wasn't ready to hear. But, you know, her journey doesn't just end in the cold woods. We completely leave that intimidating golden palace behind, trading it for the warm, welcoming glow of a fireplace inside a cozy village cottage. A kind old woman ends up taking the princess in. It's a very humble setting, but look at the stark contrast. It radiates a genuine warmth and safety that the giant, cold golden palace completely lacked. And it's right here in the village that the princess puts her philosophy into action. She doesn't just sit around missing her jewels. She integrates right into the happy village life. She's actively feeding children, caring for the elderly, and just helping her neighbors. Just like Salt, her work isn't flashy, it isn't glamorous, she definitely isn't wearing a crown, but her selfless acts of love are absolutely essential to the flavor and the survival of this entire community. She's doing that invisible work that holds people together. Meanwhile, back at the palace, a trap is about to spring. The king is throwing this grand royal banquet, and it's exactly what you'd expect from him, right? Incredibly luxurious dishes, massive long tables, golden decorations, absolutely everywhere. It is a feast specifically designed to showcase his endless wealth and power to all his guests. But there is a secret ingredient missing from this entire majestic spread. Now, what's really interesting about this moment is the trap springs. The king and his guests take a big bite of the most visually stunning, expensive food in the entire kingdom, and they look completely confused. Why? Because the food has absolutely zero flavor. By design, every single dish at this massive royal feast has been cooked without a single grain of salt. As the king is chewing on this bland, awful food, it just hits him like a ton of bricks. He has this sudden realization that the invisible, unglamorous essence of salt is exactly like true love. He finally grasps the immense emotional weight of what his youngest daughter said all those months ago. Gold is beautiful to look at, sure, but without salt, even the richest meal is basically impossible to swallow. Without his daughter's genuine, foundational love, his entire royal life is completely empty. It's tasteless. And this sparks a complete 180. An incredible shift. The king abandons his feast, he totally abandons his pride, and he frantically rides his horse across wide forests and small villages, desperately searching for the daughter he banished. He is no longer a king demanding validation. He is just a desperate father trying to win back the absolute most essential part of his life. Finally, his epic search leads him straight to that peaceful village, ending in a beautifully emotional reunion. Father and daughter embrace in the warm sunlight, tears of joy streaming down their faces. And they do eventually return to the kingdom, standing together in front of the royal palace under a sky full of celebratory fireworks. It's a magical ending for sure, but one that was earned through real hardship and a massive, massive shift in perspective. So the crucial point is, what can we actually take away from this? This story acts as a perfect mirror for our own lives. First, true love doesn't need to be shiny. It's so often found in the quiet, daily acts of care. Second, the most essential things in our lives, like our health, our family, or even literally salt, are often the things we take for granted the absolute most. And third, pride can so easily blind us to genuine affection, making us value the flashy performance of love over the actual substance of it. I want to leave you with one final, incredibly important question to chew on today. Who provides the salt in your life? Who are the people doing the unglamorous, invisible, yet utterly essential acts of love for you every single day? It might be a parent, maybe a partner, or just a friend who consistently shows up. Think about them right now. And more importantly, have you thanked them today? Don't wait until the flavor is gone to appreciate what they bring to the table. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I will see you all next time.